everyone. I apologize for my phone. I had some technical difficulties and my heels clacking, so I won't move around too much so you guys don't have to hear that. First, thank you all for coming. You guys could be anywhere else but here, so thank you for coming, being that the sun is actually shining outside. So, when Fresh Prince said, "Now this is a story all about how my life got turned flipped upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'm gonna tell you a story, but it's not how I came to be the Prince of Bel-Air." I'm going to tell you how, despite adversity, trials, tribulations, many obstacles, and even self-doubt, and how I continue to persist, and how I have to work hard every day to silence the noise in my own mind. August of 2019, I began my doctoral journey, had a plan, and I was excited. The excitement felt as I attended my first class since I had completed my master's 5 years prior, was met with excitement, but also a lot of nervousness and anxiety. I was not new to doing hard things. However, this was a different type of challenge. I quickly learned that I needed to center myself, focus, and come up with a system that worked for me and how I was going to be able to be successful in my program. I quickly learned that I needed to find a system that worked for me as a newly single mom who had relocated across the country with a 1 and 2.5-year-old then child. I'm sure you can see that there's layers of intersectionality here, and the funny thing is, I didn't even know what that meant until a few years ago. I learned that intersectionality is what my family called the jack of all trades. And in my family, that meant you learned how to wear and balance wearing many different hats. They were sometimes heavy, sometimes awkward, and sometimes very difficult to wear. Never could I have imagined I would live through something that I've only read about, an epidemic. Here I am in my second semester of my doctoral program, and literally overnight, the world shuts down. Me, a millennial who was alive when laptops became big, when floppy disks were still around, and even before we had to give up AOL and dial-up. I don't even know if you guys know what dial-up is. I was thrust into online learning, homeschooling, that was the hardest part, and lockdown. It felt like a movie or a bad dream I couldn't wake from. Both of my parents were immunocompromised, and I was always on edge, worried if they would get sick. Thankfully, neither of my parents got COVID, and unfortunately, I took that L for them because I got it more than once. So, in the midst of learning this new normal, I found my stride. I started to get used to living in a world with COVID protocols. April 2021, while I was in the middle of completing my first comp exam, I was so excited I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and my grandmother dies. I get back on the wagon, I recenter myself, and I refocus, and I'm back in. April 25th, 2022, while in the middle of my last and final comp exam, my mother dies of cancer, and that completely derailed me. My doctoral journey took a 2-year detour filled with anger, frustration, and disappointment. I had to learn to advocate for myself. While grieving, which was one of the most difficult experiences and continues to be the most difficult experience, because what people don't know is that grief is not a start and end process. I had to learn to navigate a system that was not built with me in mind. I had to learn how to write an appeal letter, learn what a grievance was and how and where to file one of those. I had to learn the structure and dynamics of my department. I began to grieve my own dream of becoming Dr. Bouie. I had to learn to persevere and challenge the system. I had to fight for my place in my program. I had people who were supposed to help me tell me that they didn't think I was going to be able to finish this program or make it through this program, or that they felt like it was too challenging, or, you got enough credits, why don't you just get a master's degree? And my answer was, because I already have one. That's not what I came here for. And so I had people who didn't care to learn about me, or people that would tell me that maybe I should come back in a couple years when life slows down, or when things change, or when situations change. But Unfortunately, life is never going to stop lifing. That's going to happen every single day. And so I had to fight for my spot in my program. I had to make sure that I quieted my own noise and my own anxiety, and I had to control the self-doubt that I was experiencing before I could expect somebody else to respect me and what I had planned. I learned that I had to push through and persevere regardless of what anybody else thought. I lacked support and knew what I needed to do as a Black woman who also works in higher ed. I wanted to be and continue to strive to be the ear, the voice, the support to other women who look like me. I want to be the safe space that I knew I needed. Just like Fresh Prince, it is your perspective that dictates how your situation controls you or you control it. Will didn't want to leave his comfort zone. Even though it was no longer safe, it wasn't serving him. However, once he embraced his quote unquote throne, he was determined to make the best of it. Was it easy for him in Bel Air? Nope, he still had issues. It was not easy, but he persisted. So in the words of the great Kendrick K. Lamar, we don't ask for permission to be great. We just want to do it and we make it happen. In closing, Nikki Giovanni said, "You're as good as anybody else. You've got a place here too." I will not internalize the narratives that others try to create, which are, I do not belong here, or that I'm a DEI hire, or an affirmative action acceptance. All that has happened in this new year with the new administration, I find myself reassuring myself and my students that I belong here and that they belong here. I have something valuable and necessary to offer the world, and so do they. As a Black single mom, first-gen student, divorcee, higher ed professional, sister, daughter, friend, and lifelong learner, I have learned that I am here because I work hard, I earned it, and I deserve it, and so do each of you. Make them see you, make them hear you, make them respect you, but most importantly, respect yourself and honor yourself where you are today and protect where you plan to be in the future. Thank you.